Reggie runs this offense, and he lets them run. 82 stolen bases for Oklahoma. That's tops in the SEC. Jackson Willits, 9 home runs, 9 stolen bases. Solid defense at shortstop, and the backstop Easton Carmichael right in the middle of this lineup. An OU lineup that's only hit 39 home runs. So it's not a team that drives out of the ballpark much, but they put a lot of pressure on it.
Ryan Ure is going to get the start. Junior left-hander, making his 5th start of the year and the 5th of his career.
Yeah, and for Ure, I mean, it's a low 90s fastball that can play. The slider is a swing and miss pitch, and you look over the course of the season, 25 strikeouts in 17 of the third, so plenty of swing and miss this year for Ure.
68 degrees, a lot of sunshine, just a beautiful setting, and we're underway as Troy Gamble is in the left-hand batter's box for Oklahoma, the left fielder tonight. Transfer from Salt Lake Community College. And a ball and a strike. So the only meeting of the year. Last year these teams met 5 times. Cowboys won 4, including the Big 12 championship. Troy Gamble, the Sooners' leading hitter, 3rd in the SEC in on-base percentage. Very good table set. And as I say that, he's going to dump this one into left field. Ringing single to start this Tuesday night.
For Gamble, always plenty of patience at the plate. You talk about that on-base percentage, above 500. 29 walks against just 13 strikeouts, and left on left. Waiting on that, driving it the other way, and getting OU started. And this is when the offense goes. You get the leadoff man on, that's when Reggie Willits can push a lot of buttons.
And we were talking about Willits. He made virtually every start at shortstop the last 2 seasons. He has been seeing it well. Puts it in play, and that's going to get into left field. Past a diving Jason Jones. Back-to-back singles to start the inning for Oklahoma.
Yeah, Jackson just kind of hit it where they weren't right there. Didn't get a ton of it, but Jason Jones lays out too far for Culbertson to go. First pitch fastball ready to go. And a quick start for the Sooners tonight.
Willits had a 9-game hitting streak snapped on Sunday, so he's back ready to get another one going. As Easton Carmichael comes up, the aforementioned junior catcher out of Prosper, Texas. 309, 7 homers, 35 runs batted in. And a little small ball approach here. What a bunt. Bo Sylvester throws it down the line. It's going to get into right field, foul territory. And a run is in as Gamble scores on the throwing error. Well, a perfectly executed bunt by Carmichael, just trying to sacrifice the runners, and it leads to a run.
And it's something he hasn't done all year. OU, for all of the things that they do to you on the base pass, they don't bunt a whole lot. Just 10 sack bunts before this right here, but you couldn't run out there and put it in a better spot. Sylvester, the catcher, tries to spin and make the throw. And that spot down the line, that's going to score Gamble for the first Sooner run, and Rob Walton making the walk out to the mound a little bit quicker than he wanted to tonight.
Rob Walton in his 13th year as Oklahoma State's pitching coach, one of the best in the business. The entire starting rotation for Oklahoma State gone after last year. Brian Holiday, Sam Garcia, Carson Binge, all guys who were drafted. It was kind of starting over for Oklahoma State when it came to the pitching staff this year.
Well, that's one of the reasons why they hosted 3 straight years, is you had that rotation that had been around. And now for Rob Walton on the weekends having to do some things that they haven't had to do before, honestly, from a pitching standpoint. Harrison Bodendorf's been great for him on the weekend. Won a 10-inning complete game last week. We don't hear complete games anymore. We definitely don't hear 10-inning complete games. And he's been the Big 12 pitcher of the week 3 times. But tonight, a quick start for this OU offense against Ure.
And he threw 125 pitches in that game on Friday night in Tucson. Here's Sam Christensen now. He flashes bunt. Christensen, the right fielder, also a transfer. He's out of South Mountain Community College in Phoenix. 263, 4 homers, 18 runs batted in. And he is leading the SEC in walks, 38 on the season. So, I mean, these guys, they get on. Doesn't matter how they get on. And then when they're on, they're just dangerous on the base paths.
And yeah, they'll run. They're patient. Again, it's not an offense. It's
And another base hit, another seeing eye single. This time to right, another run is in. They're going to try to score 2, and they do. As Carmichael beats the throw home, into second base is Christensen. 3-0 right out of the gate here for the Sooners. Still nobody out.
I was saying it's not an offense that hits a lot of home runs, but if you do this, you don't have to hit a lot of home runs. Single to start it. Got a perfect bunt by Carmichael that's thrown into right field, and now Christensen, again, kind of like Willits earlier, didn't hit it all that hard, just hit it in the right spot. Not good enough to score 2 more. Still nobody out. The Sooners have put 3 on the board.
And now the switch-hitting sophomore Jason Walk. He's in center field. Walk has been the leadoff hitter in all but a few games this year, so he is hitting in the 5 spot tonight as Skip Johnson moves some pieces around. And he might be the fastest guy on the field tonight.
He can fly. Yeah, he can fly, and they liked him in that leadoff spot, but with Gamble's offensive numbers, he gets on base a lot more. Makes sense to maybe move Walk down a little bit, but he gets on a base pass, he's a menace.
Another bunt. Tap foul.
You know, it's interesting for an Oklahoma team that had 10 sack bunts all year. 3 of the first 5 in this game have squared. So a little bit different offensive approach here in the first.
Sophomore Jason Walk puts a charge into this one, but it's going to hang up there for the right fielder Nolan Schubert. 2-time All-American. Tagging from second is Christensen. He'll get to third. You and I were talking with Skip Johnson before the game. Now in his 8th season as the Sooners head coach. And, you know, he likes these midweek games to try different things. He talked about experimenting, giving younger players an opportunity to flourish.
Yeah, especially on the mound. I mean, you have to do that on the mound because you're not going to use your weekend starters. So it does give guys a chance to see some action in an environment like this that is going to feel like a league game. Now with 1 out, Oklahoma State will bring the infield in.
This is the DH Drew Dickerson. Big swing and a miss. And that pitch from Ryan Ure. Dickerson, a big bat. Freshman with a lot of potential. And he's had a lot of success against left-handed pitching, not so much against righties. So to Lee Summit, Missouri. First year, not in the same conference for these two. Still seems weird seeing Oklahoma playing in the SEC, but they're starting to get comfortable in that league after 26 in the Big 12.
Before that, was back to the Big 8 days.
Yep. Sooners up to number 18 in the D1 baseball top 25. Took 2 of 3 from number 17 Vandy in Norman on the weekend. And this is a team that had an amazing start. Best start since 2011. Won its first 11 games. Swung out and missed, and now full count as Ryan Ure is trying to settle in here after getting behind 3-0. You can see the season. They've won 3 of their 5 SEC series. In on the hands and right into the on-deck circle.
And some good non-conference wins, too. They beat Oregon State. They beat Virginia. Those will look good at the end of the year. And they've won 3 of 5 SEC series, but also been swept.
And Ure loses Drew Dickerson. So now runners at the corners in 1 out. And Dayton Taki will come out, the big first baseman. We're going to see a lot of pitchers tonight. Both coaches said as much when we talked to him before the game. Josh Holliday would like to see Ryan Ure get through the first inning, however. Runner goes, and another bunt by Taki, the first baseman. The flip home is late. As Christensen slides in with the 4th run. How about that? The first baseman laying it down.
Yeah, this is just Reggie Willits in this OU offense saying, we're going to keep doing this until you prove that you can field it. And for the game's sped up. You just got to get it out right here. It's not a bad, I mean, it's not a suicide squeeze. It's a safety squeeze, so you're reading to make sure the ball goes down. But for you got to get it out. And even if it's a perfect flip right there, I'm not sure if he gets it at home plate. Sooners add another. Now have runners at first and third. Already are up 4 here with 1 out in the first.
Bo Sylvester doing the catching tonight for Oklahoma State, as Ian Doherty, their starting catcher, gets the night off. Now look at Kyle Branch, very mature freshman for Oklahoma. He's been the everyday second baseman, hitting over 300. Coming off a bit of a quiet Vanderbilt series over the weekend, was 1 for 10. And Ure hits a strike there on the inside corner. Infield at double play depth, hoping to get a ground ball here and get off the field. Junior from Eaton, Colorado, delivers another pitch, and it's a swing and a miss. Ryan Ure, drafted by the Giants in the 19th round last year. Had Tommy John surgery a couple of years ago. He was forced to evacuate his home during the wildfires last month. It was bad wildfires that ripped through Stillwater. This one is hit on a line to left field, and that's another hit. Coming in to score is Dickerson. The throw to third, and Taki is going to be in there. Man, Kyle Branch with a line drive to left as the hits keep on coming for the Sooners.
A little bit surprised, just given the way that OU's been offensively in this inning, that they didn't ask Branch to bunt earlier in the at-bat. But he gets to 2 strikes, free it up, gets a fastball that he can drill down that left field line. And this is a loud first inning now for OU. 5 hits. Oklahoma State's made 2 errors, and the Sooners have 5 on the board.
Now the infield drawn in. Willis shows bunt, swings, and now the play at the plate in time as Dickerson is gunned down, or Taki is gunned down, excuse me. And so that's the second out. How about that approach at the plate?
I don't really like it, honestly. I don't know why you slash in that spot with the infield in. I mean, maybe you get the corners to crash a little bit more, but the middle's not really going to move. It shortens that swing up a lot. Good play by Culbertson just to get that lead runner.
So Campbell started the inning with a single. Back to the plate. 10 hitters have come up for Oklahoma here in the first inning. Oklahoma State having some activity early here tonight in the bullpen. Brennan Phillips, junior left-hander, starting to throw. Branch at second, Willis at first, and runners go. Pitches in the dirt and no throw. That's what they'll do to you. They just keep the pressure on you. Just a relentless approach here for Oklahoma. And that's going to twist out of play. Count rides along at 1-2 to Trey Gamble. And you see that Oklahoma State bullpen, and 83 stolen bases now for Oklahoma. That is going to probably be well into the 100 range after not too long. It's potentially going to be a record-setting year for Oklahoma.
And the stolen bases obviously are a big deal. The other thing is it speeds you up on the mound. You have to go at a pace that you're not used to going because there's not a ton of teams that run as much as Oklahoma does. It's uncomfortable when you face a team that's different than most.
3-2 walk to bases loaded again. Second walk allowed by Ure. And we'll see if Josh Holliday decides to make a move here. Doesn't appear so. Eleven batters, 5 hits, 5 runs for Oklahoma here in the first. To center. And that is going to end the inning finally as Smith makes the catch and puts it away. 34 pitches needed for Ryan Ure to navigate the first. He gives up 5. Well, the Cowboys are going to try to dig out of a 5-run hole as they come to the plate for the first time here tonight. Nolan Schubert, 2-time All-American, has been leading this offense when it's been at its best. He's been a star at Oklahoma for 3 years now. Jaden Barfield, freshman left-hander, making his 12th appearance for Oklahoma. It's got to feel good to go out there with a little cushion.
Yeah, you don't mind running out there with a 5 spot already up on the board. For Barfield, first start of the year. And a guy that we were talking to Skip Johnson before the game, he was excited to get him out there in this role and really see what he's going to get. Everything else has been out of the bullpen, and I think he gets 6 to 9 outs from Barfield. It's a really good night.
Nolan Schubert leads the team in homers, runs batted in. Even though his numbers are down a little bit, you know, we talked about it a little at the top, you know, because of the injuries. Some of the guys that were projected to be in the lineup are gone. Also, they lost a lot from last year, so he doesn't have the hitters around him like he did last year to protect him in this lineup. No,
I mean, you lose Carson Benji at 18 home runs. You lose Zach Earhart, he had 14 home runs. Xavier Ortiz is hurt. Aiden Miola's hurt. That's a lot. And Schubert is one of the premier power hitters in the country, but does not have the protection that he's had in the past in this lineup.
There's Josh Holliday, now his 13th year, the 48-year-old head coach. Played here in the late 90s for his dad, Tom. Now, he's still top 5 in many of the categories here at Oklahoma State. His leadoff hitter is Braden Smith. JUCO transfer from Iowa Western, leading the Cowboys with a .313 average. Left-hander Barfield comes home. This is hit sharply, backhanded by Willis at third. Good strong throw. 1 up, 1 down. These are not too great defensive teams. We saw a couple of errors for Oklahoma State in the field in the first inning, and this is a pretty good play by Willis.
Yeah, it is. And as a third baseman with a left-handed hitter, that's a ground ball you're not going to get very often. A lot of times you may get something that's chopped into the dirt that you got to come get, but that one got on Dawson Willis pretty quick, and it's a quick first out.
Both teams coming into the night fielding .971. Not exactly stellar. Here's Colin Ritchie, a sophomore, in left field. Another big, strong left-handed bat. 295 homers, 16 runs batted in for Ritchie. Fly ball, left center field. Left fielder Gamble is going to get under it for their second out. So good start here for Jaden Barfield. And again, Skip Johnson plans to use several arms tonight, but with a nice lead here early, and Barfield so far looking in command. I'm sure he's got him earmarked right now for several innings if he can.
And he's throwing a bunch of strikes too, and that's important. He's really 2 pitches. It's fastball, slider. The slider has the most swing and miss, but 2 quick outs for the left-hander so far.
You see Schubert's numbers Last year hit .370. Led the Big 12 with 23 homers, 68 runs batted in. He is a projected first-round pick. He just looks the part.
You talk about the offense. I mean, last year the OPS for Schubert was about 1350. This year it's down over 300 points. And I do think a lot of that is just because there isn't as much protection. You can pitch around him more this year than you could last year.
Jayden Barfield gets a swing and a miss. That's a 1-2-3 inning. Looks pretty good tonight for the freshman.
Like that start. Talked about the slider, the swing and miss is the most on this pitch.
And Oklahoma State went quietly in their half of the inning. A new pitcher for the Pokes. Brennan Phillips is going to make his 10th trip to the mound.
Yeah, left-hander out there early, so Phillips in there in the second inning already for Oklahoma State. It's an upper 80s fastball, primarily fastball slider. He will throw some changeups to right-handers and strikeouts in 7 1/3, but he has walked 6.
Oklahoma sent 11 to the plate in the first, and 5-run first inning, matching the most runs in an open inning this season. They also did it against Mississippi State here a few weeks ago. Easton Carmichael with a sacrifice and a run scored in the first inning. Again, errors have been a problem for Oklahoma State here, especially the past week. And a couple of errors for the catcher, Bo Sylvester, in that first inning.
Both these teams filled .971 as a team. That's not a great defensive number.
Easton Carmichael trying to extend an 8-game hitting streak. Drove in 5 in game 2 of the Vandy series over the weekend. Just did a blow-up game as the Sooners won that convincingly, and that is going to be a leadoff walk. So Brennan Phillips, another left-hander for Oklahoma State, having similar trouble that Ryan Ure had in the first. Here comes Sam Christensen again. And generally speaking, catchers don't steal a lot of bases, but there's Carmichael over there. He's got 9 on the year.
And if you're in this lineup, you're potentially going to steal a bag. That's just the type of offense that Oklahoma is.
Popped up. Short center field. And the center fielder, as he should, Braden Smith calling everybody off, looking up into that sunshine to make the catch for the first out.
Well, I've done a fair amount of games down here. I have never come down where it's in the upper 60s and the wind is hardly blowing at all.
It's absolutely perfect.
This is as nice as you're going to get for a Tuesday night game.
So Christensen out quickly on that fly ball, and this is Jason Walk. Walk flew out to right field. He's 0 for 1. A gentle breeze blowing from left to right. It's off the plate. Reggie Willits played in the big leagues, coached in the big leagues, and he's the offensive coordinator for the Oklahoma Sooners. You know, you think football when you hear that phrase, offensive coordinator, but at Oklahoma, it also describes what Reggie Willits is for this baseball team.
The title fits because, I mean, we saw in the first inning, they squared to bunt or bunted 4 times, pushed 5 runs across. It is not a team that's going to wait back and play for the 3-run homer. They intentionally make you feel uncomfortable defensively.
Carmichael away from first. Brennan Phillips again misses outside. It's 3-0 to Jason Walk. Walk battled some sore shoulder issues last weekend after he made a SportsCenter top 10 catch against Vanderbilt in game 1. But fought his way through it. He's in the lineup again for the Sooners here tonight. There's a strike, 3-1. Oklahoma 25-10, 7-8 in the SEC. That's good for 10th as Phillips goes over to first. They're going to be at Missouri this weekend. And the Tigers are really struggling. They have yet to win a conference game, so there is some low-hanging fruit there potentially for the Sooners. But also the Tigers are very hungry, and you know at some point they're going to get somebody.
You would think so. Yeah, 0-15 start in the league, and you know, it is not a very forgiving league to start.
No.
So if you're OU a game under halfway through, it's 7-8. Big to go in and at least win the series in Columbia.
Here's Texas looking down at everybody else. Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC from the Big 12 last year. As Phillips gets the first strikeout for Oklahoma State pitching tonight. 2 down.
Oh, big right there for Brendan Phillips, just to get something positive for the staff. That's the breaking ball. They don't throw more than any other off-speed pitch. See some changeups to righties, not many, but a good breaking ball right there to get the strikeout first of the game for the Sooner offense.
Drew Dickerson walked and scored a run in the first. You know, Texas and Oklahoma leave the Big 12. And you wonder how are they going to navigate it in the first season. Oklahoma's doing pretty well, really.
They're doing fine.
And Texas now #1 in the country playing in that league.
I think everybody thought Texas would be good. I don't know that anybody thought that Texas would be #1 in the country halfway through the SEC. Till Jim Schlossnagle and his staff have, not surprisingly, he's done it everywhere, have done a heck of a job in their first year at Austin.
Texas took 2 of 3 from Kentucky over the weekend in Lexington and were 15-inning loss away from getting a sweep. 0-2 as Phillips tries to get through the second inning unscathed. Walked the leadoff man Carmichael. He's at first. Dickerson 6'4", 209 pounds, big freshman. And he takes outside 1-2. We were talking with Skip Johnson about, the first year in the SEC, and he's enjoying it. He's learning a lot. Those SEC bullpens, he said, there's something special.
They'll roll some arms out, that's for sure. I thought it was interesting talking to Skip too, just about the transition, and he said, it forces these guys to grow up really fast when you go on the road, because the environments are so loud and they're on top of you, and that's what the league as a whole is really known for.
Skip's 58 years old. He's been around this game a long time. Of course, took Oklahoma to the finals of the College World Series here in 2022. But he's a self-made man. He spent a long time at the junior college level, coaching at Navarro, and of course was Augie's pitching coach for a long time at Texas. So that one's ripped foul, and Russell Raley has to skip over it.
We always enjoy the discussions with Skip. You're not quite sure exactly where they're going to go all the time. You're not going to start with baseball. You're usually going to start with hunting or fishing or something else, which he was fishing yesterday. And then we got to baseball back towards the end of it, but he's a blast to hang out with.
And sits off the plate, so now full count. Yeah, I've never met anybody that knows more about hunting, fishing, and rattlesnakes than Skip Johnson.
He knows a thing or two about pitching, too.
We're going to be talking to him in the third inning, so stick around for that. We don't know where it'll go. And pitch, called strike 3. Couple of strikeouts for Phillips in the inning after leading off the inning with a walk. Gets through it, no runs. Pearson with you from Stillwater tonight. And we just saw that top 10. And it's just littered with Southeastern Conference teams. Now,
that never happens.
You know, they've had a stranglehold, that league has, on Omaha here in recent years, going back to before COVID. But there's a lot of season left as Jones leads it off and pulls it foul outside of third.
Yeah, I mean, you see the type of team that Oklahoma is, and obviously the power doesn't play with some of the others in the SEC, but everything else does. They have one of the best arms in the entire country who is electric, and you're going to hear his name, I think, for a long time. Kyson Witherspoon, him and his brother, 2 of the 3 starters on the weekend, but I mean, at the midway point, D1 baseball named Kyson Witherspoon the best pitcher in the country this year, and that's what OU's rolling out there day one.
Witherspoon 6-2, his ERA 2.08. That's best in the SEC. That misses wide and down. 2-1. Here to Jason Jones, who'll be followed by Brigham and Scholl. Barfield needed only 7 pitches in the first inning. There you see Kyson.
Those numbers.
That's just ridiculous.
74 strikeouts in 52 innings.
You talked about him being the reigning SEC co-pitcher of the week. He shut out Vanderbilt Saturday, 7-inning complete game, and it was a very easy effort.
It's easier when you throw 99. That does help sometimes.
Foul back. 3-2 now.
Had the great Robin Ventura stop in and say hi in between innings, and as he always does, it doesn't end in between innings. It usually bleeds into the following inning. He is the absolute greatest.
What a baseball man.
Yep.
You get the feeling like every day he gets up in the morning and studies some aspect of the game still. I think he still thinks he can go on a 58-game hitting streak.
I guarantee he go out and hit. Yeah, I'm in that book. I gave one up to him when he was with the White Sox. That was a fun day.
Golden Spikes winner back in the day. That 1987 season, very special. That was the year of the 58-game streak. Inside, and he walked it. So the leadoff man is on for Oklahoma State. First base runner for the Cowboys tonight, and it's Jason Jones. And that'll bring up Brigham. And it's always dangerous to pitch to this big guy with runners on.
He looks smart, man, when he gets up there. Brigham double-digit home runs last year. The average is up about 50 points. He had 251 last year.
So Jayden Barfield, who only needed 7 pitches in the first inning, threw 7 to Jones. He's at first base, and the first pitch to Brigham is swung on and fouled back. 6'6", still hitting over 300, but the average down about 35 points the last couple of weeks. They're hoping that Brigham can start to get into a groove. All Big 12 each of the last couple of years. Infield double play depth. And the 0-1. 0-2. That popped the mitt.
I like how this freshman attacks, man. I mean, first career start, you get out there in an environment like this, and it's not rowdy, but there's plenty of people here. But it's still a rivalry that you're very aware of when you're wearing one of these two unis.
Down the line and slicing foul. Speaking of unis, It's a good uniform night for both of these squads. I'm particularly a fan of Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I want Josh to bring back the pullovers at some point for a game or two. Because, I mean, this uni has been there forever with the hat that looks the exact same way. It's one of the most classic uniforms in college baseball.
Well, Ventura was wearing it back in the day.
But it was a pullover then.
Yeah. Breaking ball down in the dirt, blocked up by Carmichael.
They had some teams, man.
Oh, boy.
When he was here, Robin Incaviglia, Monty Ferris, Brad Beanblossom, one of the greatest college baseball names ever.
Ground ball. I don't know if it's hit hard enough for 2. They're going to go to second for 1. They will not get the double play. Branch charged and got there as quickly as he could, but can only get the force of Jones at second. Well, speaking of Major League Baseball, as we like to do when we see Robin Ventura, Sunday Night Baseball. Padres taking on the Astros in Houston, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern with baseball tonight, Sunday Night Countdown.
Well, the Padres start now. Lead the NL West. I know it's early, but Mike Schultz club off and running.
And National League West is going to be a meat grinder with the Giants, Padres, and the Dodgers. All looking good out of the gate. Garrett Shull, one of the many Oklahoma natives on this Oklahoma State roster. Freshman switch hitter. He's in the designated hitter spot. He hit a game-tying home run in the 9th on Sunday in Tucson, but Arizona walked it off in the bottom of the 9th. As Oklahoma State lost 2 of 3 in that series. So Cowboys coming off their 4th Big 12 series loss. They swept K-State here 9 days ago, but since then a midweek loss to ORU, that's Oral Roberts, and then the series lost to Arizona. So we talked about the self-inflicted wounds. We talked about the injuries, the inconsistency at the plate. But boy, when we were down on the field and talking to Josh Holliday, very optimistic about how he says there's still time to fix this thing and get it going in the right way.
I think optimistic and realistic too.
That hit him. So Shull will take first base, 2 on with 1 out. Here for Oklahoma State as Jaden Barfield is dealing with base runners now for the first time in his night.
Because obviously, given the injuries of this Oklahoma State team, I mean, you know that they're not going to be what you thought they were going to be. And they're not going to get it back. They're not going to get Ortiz back. They're not going to get Aiden Miola back. And both of those, that's the left side of your infield. That's a big deal. That dude knows a thing or two about getting the most out of his teams, man. Hosted regional each of the last 3 years. Grew up in a dugout. I hosted him on a recruiting trip. And, of course, we all knew he was going to Oklahoma State, but he came on a recruiting trip. And I got to hear about it because the guy that I hosted didn't sign.
You let down the program.
Yeah.
Here's Bo Sylvester. As Oklahoma's bullpen is warming up for the first time tonight. Reed Hensley, a senior right-hander, is down there starting to fire away. Bo Sylvester, sophomore from Hawaii. As you look at the Sooners pen. Second straight start behind home plate for Sylvester. It hasn't been a good one so far with the 2 errors in the first inning, but you know, a guy that they feel that they can count on to back up Ian Doherty. He has been the main backstop for the Pokes.
I thought Robin making the trek from Santa Barbara to Stillwater was about as different at 2 locations as you can get. I would say Hawaii to Stillwater probably tops the Santa Barbara to Stillwater move.
This one hit sharply to left field. Gamble shuffles over to his left to make the catch, and there are 2 down. What are you saying there? Are you implying that there's a cultural difference?
There's a few, yeah. Cultural backdrop, variety of things, barbecue, yes.
There's some good barbecue in this town. But Hawaiian barbecue's not bad.
It is. It's fair.
So 2 outs for Brock Thompson as Jaden Barfield tries to work around the base runners. Brock Thompson, another freshman. And Oklahoma State was happy to get him out of Bakersfield, California. And compared to Oklahoma State, they don't have a ton of guys who run all over the place, but Thompson's got some speed, and when he gets on, he can make things happen. Leads the team in stolen bags. There's a strike. 0-2.
Slider's been good for the freshman left-hander. Jaden Barfield has been comfortable throwing it more so to lefties than righties, but this time uses it to jump out to an 0-2 advantage.
Oklahoma State still without a hit against Jaden Barfield. You wonder if this won't be his last inning. Again, both coaches have implied that we'll see a lot of arms tonight. And that's going to end the inning. So Jaden Barfield works around a walk and a hit batter. Skip Johnson's going to like that. We're going to talk to the bench boss for the Sooners when we come back. On this Tuesday night, Bedlam between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. The Sooners coming in ranked 18th in the country. And coming off a series win at home against Vanderbilt in the Southeastern Conference. Got out to a great start here tonight with 5 runs in the first. And now they're going to send up Dayton Taki, Kyle Branch, and Dawson Willis, 7, 8, and 9. And let's bring in Skip Johnson, the head coach of the Oklahoma Sooners.
I got like 8 people talking to me right now.
Well, we're going to talk to you for a moment, if that's okay. Hey, first of all, how many fish did you catch yesterday?
None.
None.
Just a good day of fishing without any fish biting.
Hey, that's okay. A good day of fishing, even if they don't bite. That's all right. Well, first of all, I want to talk to you about your starter tonight, Jaden Barfield. You know, so far so good for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's just trying to attack the strike zone with his stuff, and what's good about him is great mannerisms around the mound. You know, he comes from big league stock and a great family, and it's just fun to watch him pitch.
Hey, Skip, how would you define or how would you describe your offense? Not just today, but just in general. Somebody says, tell me about your offense and approach. How would you describe it?
Just, you know, whatever the game gives you, try to take it. I mean, as much as anything, take your walks when you have to take your walks. Try to get the leadoff hitter on. I mean, and then if you know, run bases hard. I mean, there's four things when it comes to offense. You got to be able to hit. You got to have bat control. You got to have base running, and you got to have bunting. And so you got to be good in those 4 areas to run offense. It's about run scoring. And I think we get away from that, and I'm just trying to put enough pressure on the pitcher where you can. I don't know where that ball went, but you know, try to put enough pressure on him.
Okay, so to that, fly out to right to start it. In the first, you guys have 10 sack bunts all year coming into this game. In the first inning alone, you squared or bunted 4 times. Is that kind of back to whatever the game dictates and tells you to do? That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, more so than anything is trying to get guys in scoring positions and get a big hit. I mean, Branch had a big hit in the first inning in a 2-strike count. I mean, you know, it's a big at bat for him.
Skip, we appreciate your time. Always a joy to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, Skip.
Skip Johnson. You know, he led the Sooners to the Big 12 regular season title for the first time last year, and
which surprised me.
Yeah,
it surprised me that was their first regular season title.
And of course, they leave the league, so they don't have a chance to defend it.
Well, both these teams hosted last year. We talked about Oklahoma State hosting each of the last 3 years. OU hosted last year as well.
Bernard Phillips got Taki to pop out to right field, and now a ground ball off the bat of Kyle Branch to short. That's Drew Culbertson, the Missouri transfer. He throws out a very fast Branch for the second out. And I'll bring up Dawson Willis, the 9-hole hitter. Dawson Willis, a tall, lean third baseman, 6'4", 187 pounds. Remember Peyton Graham here a few years back for Oklahoma? Very slender shortstop on that Omaha team. Kind of built like him in a way.
Yeah. Longer, leaner frame. Braden Shoemake years ago at Texas A&M. Not exactly what you would think is the infield build, but these guys make it work.
Native of Ruston, Louisiana. Leonard Phillips, after that 5-run first inning that Ryan Ure tried to navigate, came on in the second, walked the leadoff man, but then had a nice run of 3 successive outs, and now he has retired 5 in a row. And it could be 6. Again to Culbertson. Picked at first by Brigham. That's an 11-pitch inning for Brennan Phillips, as Oklahoma goes quietly in the 3rd. Afternoon's team final will be on ABC, and Oklahoma always feared in gymnastics. New pitcher for the Sooners. And here is Reed Hensley, a veteran out of Lufkin, Texas.
Hensley, the right-hander, on for the 14th time. That's near the top of appearances this year for OU, 18 2/3. 21 strikeouts for Hensley, the right-hander.
Thought Jaden Barfield was really good, the nephew of Jesse Barfield, who played 12 years in the majors with the Blue Jays and the Yankees. That's what Skip was referring to when he said he comes from Major League stock. And now we're going to see Reed Hensley, first right-hander of the night for either team.
I think if you're Skip, you're pretty excited about what you saw. I mean, you get a freshman out there, Barfield, that's making his first start in a Bedlam game like this, and for the most part threw strikes, didn't give up any hits. Was pretty efficient. You got everything you would ask out of the freshman left-hander.
The only guy in either team's starting lineup we have not seen at the plate tonight is Drew Culbertson, the sophomore from Greenwood, Indiana. Transfer from Mizzou. And back up the middle for a base hit. Culbertson has not been swinging it all that well this year, hitting 164 coming into that plate appearance, but nice base hit back up the middle to start the inning.
And turn this Oklahoma State lineup over too. Culbertson, the 9-hole. A fastball in on his hands, gets enough of the barrel to it to shoot it out to center. First hit of the night for Oklahoma State right there.
So he's been playing shortstop for Oklahoma State because of Avery Ortiz being out since early March. You mentioned that, and we did talk to Josh Holliday. Didn't seem too optimistic about getting Ortiz back anytime soon. They still think there's a chance before the end of the year, but right now it's not looking good.
No, yeah, I think you have to assume that the entire starting left side of the infield, it was he and Miola, probably going to be done for the year. That's 2 giant hits in this Oklahoma State lineup, and defensively.
Braden Smith trying to extend a 19-game hitting streak.
They're taking some pitching hits too. Gabe Davis has been out. I saw Davis last year at the end of the year. He looked like a big leaguer. I mean, that's somebody that, whether he's starting or relieving, would be a big shot in the arm.
Game hitting streak for Smith. That's the longest at Oklahoma State in 4 years. Long way to catch Robin, though.
Yeah. Yep, just about 40 more.
Brent Smith, a product of Millard South High School in Omaha,
there
right in your backyard.
Patriots.
There's Robin's number retired here in beautiful Albright Stadium. Now full count. Reed Hensley wearing number 42 on Jackie Robinson Day.
It was a great day in the big leagues. See how many guys wear number 42 today.
Three-two pitch, runner goes, swung on and fouled off. Now Oklahoma State says, you know what, we can run too. Boy, that first inning, though, Oklahoma just came out guns a-blazing. Just a blur around the base paths as the Sooners were running and sacrificing, and they scored 5 times. Runner goes again and again, foul back.
And I think if you're Josh Halliday right now, you're just playing the percentages to where Hensley with not a ton of swing and miss. And obviously ball 4, the runner's going to advance anyway. So the last 2 times on the 3-2 count, he had Culbertson off and running.
Field play pretty deep here for Smith, and again runner goes and again fouled off, and we'll go back and do it again. Culbertson getting quite a workout over there at first base. There he goes one more time. Outside, walked him. Culbertson a single, Smith a walk, 2 on, nobody out. As Oklahoma State will try and claw back into this game.
Yeah, and for Oklahoma State, they took the punches. I mean, you give up the 5 spot in the first, but then kind of solidify everything. Hold Oklahoma scoreless for the next 2 innings, but now offensively, they got to throw a few punches of their own. Best scoring chance that they've had today, 2 on, nobody out.
That was a 10-pitch at bat for Braden Smith. He doesn't get the hit to extend that streak, but that's a really good at bat. Now Colin Ritchie out of Atoka, Oklahoma. That's going to find the seats. Atoka, Oklahoma, their high school nickname. Hold on to yourself, Kyle Peterson. The Wampus Cats.
So if Tommy Hart and I were doing the regional last year, and he brought up the exact same thing, and I should have remembered it because he said it about 10 times, but yeah, that's one you shouldn't forget. Not a whole lot of Wampus Cats out there.
I don't know what it is, but I'm sure Skip Johnson has hunted it.
Yes, if it's legal, or even if it's not, if it was on his land, then it becomes most minds legal.
It's fair game.
Yeah, he's probably clipped a few Wampus Cats in his time.
2 on, nobody out, and swung on and missed. Colin Ritchie is going to sit down. First strikeout for Reed Hensley.
Hensley will throw both a cutter and a curveball. That looked like the curveball right there, more top to bottom. Ritchie swung right over the top at a time too where if you're Hensley, you're really thinking strikeout right there. Now you're a ground ball away from maybe getting out of this thing.
Well, Nolan Schubert could change the feel of this game in one swing. Struck out swinging against Barfield in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. The average for Schubert now right at 300. Hitting .415 though here at the friendly confines of O'Brate Stadium. He likes to hit in this ballpark. It's .320 down that right field line. He would love to park one in that Oklahoma bullpen. Speaking of that bullpen, they're stirring again down there for the Sooners. Foul back, 2-1.
That's one that Schubert wants back. 2-0 fastball that's belt high and pretty center cut, and he just missed it.
All-American outfielder. Trying to get Oklahoma State back in this game and get into that bullpen again. Swung on and missed, and now it's 2-2 as Reed Hensley evens out the count. Oklahoma State glad to be home for a while. They've got the next 5 here. This is the first of 5. They host Houston this weekend, then Dallas Baptist next Tuesday. This is hit high, deep to center. Going back is Jason Walk. Still going back, looking up. He'll make the catch on the warning track. Tagging from second is Culbertson. Right behind him on the base paths is Braden Smith. So it's a long fly ball out for the second out by Schubert, but he does advance the base run.
Yeah, productive, and he didn't miss this by much. I mean, Schubert can hit some of the most impressive fly balls, whether they're home runs or deep fly ball outs, that you'll see from anybody in college baseball. This was about 5 feet away from going out to dead center and changing this game in a hurry, but just got underneath it enough to give Jason Walk time to run it down.
Jason Jones walked his first time up. Jones spent the last couple of seasons at Arkansas. Came to Oklahoma State because he wanted more consistent playing time, and he's been getting it. Hasn't missed a start this year. Dawson Willis, nice play. And that's going to end the inning. And so Oklahoma State gets a couple on, but they're left stranded. We're going to talk to the Cowboys head coach Josh Holliday on this beautiful Tuesday night when we come back. 5-0.
Maybe they otherwise wouldn't.
Well, you know, first of all, it's an opportunity for every kid that's here to step in and get a chance to perform and do so in an important setting. So that's always a good thing, Kyle. You know, seasons are unpredictable, and once they start and they start going, they have a way of allowing you a chance to grow. Sometimes in ways you didn't envision, maybe in ways you really don't want to deal with, but it is what it is, and you have to embrace it and stay positive with it and keep growing your players into the space that you know one day they can occupy. You mentioned some guys who are not there. That happens sometimes in team sports. So what our focus is on the guys that are here and helping them elevate their game, and each time out being more courageous. Nice catch. There we go. And just staying with it. You know, I think it's easy to get negative. It's super easy and very tempting to just get down. It takes an amazing amount of discipline and a ton of investment in each other not to. So we're learning how to do that. And believe me, it's been challenging, but the kids are awesome. They continue to fight for us. We've just had some growth spurts and some moments that when you get on the other side of them, you look back and say, gosh, we're going to handle that better next time. And the kids are doing that. So, yeah, the record's not where we want to be. And you had a bad inning to start this one, but guess what? There's lots of baseball to play. You got to learn how to live in the present. If you don't do that, and you don't teach your players to do that, it's hard to, you know, expect them to perform. So it's certainly been a learning experience as a coach to really be true to what it is you're preaching.
Josh, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Good luck.
Okay, fellas, thank you.
Josh Holliday. And there's that optimism you were alluding to.
Yeah, I mean, they got 2 choices, right? I mean, you're not going to change the reality of it. Guys are hurt, they're not coming back. So you can either embrace it and say this is an opportunity for others, or like he said, you know, as tough as it is, there's plenty of times you probably do want to feel sorry for yourself. But this is a club he's got, and they're not done yet. I know it wasn't an ideal start tonight, but they still have time to make a run in that conference and get back in that postseason hunt.
Knocked down by Jones at third, recovers, bad throw. And yet another error here for Oklahoma State. Can they recover and get the out anyway? No. Sliding in is Jackson Willits with that lightning speed that he has. Turns it into a 2-base mistake for Oklahoma State. Jason Jones, 8 errors last week, has 1 now here tonight.
Well, you talk about the speed of Willits, and it gets him to second base, but what it also does is it speeds up Jason Jones after he doesn't field this cleanly. does the right thing, bare hands it, so gets rid of it as quickly as he can. And Bo Sylvester makes a throw that you really never see a catcher make. Looks like a third baseman throwing off his right foot to second to try to get Willits, but instead it's a 2-out error, the third error of the night for Oklahoma State.
Jackson Willits, Dan Reggie, a former Sooner speedster in his own right back in the day, great base runner. That was great work with his hand to get that hand in ahead of the tag because the throw was actually there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Jackson growing up was preached not just about stealing bases, but base running. Those are two different things sometimes. That time sliding the inside part of the bag make it that much tougher for the tag.
So Gamble put it in the corner, but a running catch by Nolan Schubert in right field to start the inning. Willits aboard on a 2-base error. And now Easton Carmichael trying to drive him in and add to this Sooners lead. So Brennan Phillips had retired 7 in a row before Willis gets to second base. And left hand just got in there for Willits.
Yeah, just try to get as far away from where that tag is going to start.
Popped up behind home plate. We'll see if this is playable for Sylvester. He's calling everybody up. Falls down and makes the catch. Boy, that was a tough play for Bo Sylvester. And, you know, he had a rough first inning, but that's a dynamite catch.
Yeah, and Phillips wanted to make this play, the pitcher. I mean, he came firing off the mound. And you can see right there, it's about when he hears Sylvester call him off. And you're just getting out of the way, hoping that that action of the baseball, which on that foul ball is going to be coming back towards the infield at the end. That's why the catcher turns it back to the infield. Good job by Sylvester to squeeze that one.
Christensen is 1 for 2. Down the line, and then it's just foul. Christensen making a bid for extra bases. And neither team with an extra base hit here tonight. Didn't miss by much.
6 inches maybe.
Yes, that's a strike. The appeal to Seth Buckminster at third base. He did go around, and I'll tell you, Brennan Phillips has been really good since coming on in the second inning.
That's what they needed. I mean, if Oklahoma State's going to have a chance, you got to go through some zeros up, and left-hander Phillips has done just that.
The 0-2. Check swing. Did not go. He didn't miss the outside part of the plate by much either. 1-2.
Fastball, you can see Sylvester trying to bring that one back. It missed, but not by much.
That time they appeal. That time he did not go around, says Seth Buckminster. Earning his money this half inning. Five runs in the first for Oklahoma. They've been quiet since then. Team ERA for Oklahoma State coming into the night 4.60. And as a staff, over 10 strikeouts per 9 innings. We've got 3 tonight. But Rob Walton's staff, they've had over 600 as a team each of the last 3 years.
Honestly, too, they've pitched it well enough this year to win more games than they have. But that 261 average is right at the bottom of the Big 12. For Brennan Phillips, his longest outing of the year coming into this was an inning and a third. He's now gone 2 2/3, a pitch away from going 3 scoreless and really giving this Oklahoma State team a chance to get back in it.
Full count to Christensen. He hits it a ton. Right center field and deep. Carrying, and it's off the wall. Coming in to score is Willits, and coasting into second with an RBI stand-up double is Sam Christensen. His 19th run batted in of the year, and it's 6-0 Sooners.
It's pretty good at bat right there for Christensen, who just missed a double down the right field line that was called foul. This time works it into full count, gets something he can handle. This is about 10 feet away from going out right center field. Played perfectly by Braden Smith. But ultimately, with 2 outs, a minute goes in the air. Willits is off and running. He cruises home, and Oklahoma adds that lead.
So 3 RBI night for Sam Christensen, as he drove in 2 in the first inning, and now Jason Walk is over 2. Jason Walk was recruited to play infield. They have decided to use his speed in center field at Oklahoma. And again, he had a Sports Center top 10. I think they brought it in at number 7 over the weekend against Vanderbilt. Kind of jammed his shoulder, though, on the play. Went all out for it. All in all, pretty good weekend. Vandy coming into Norman for the first time.
Yeah, and
conference play.
They hammered him pretty good the first 2 days. Now, Vandy came back and run ruled OU in the 3rd game to avoid a sweep, but you win a series against Vandy, whether it's at home or on the road, that's a good weekend.
Ground ball to short. Culbertson, no mistake, throws across, and that's going to do it. But Oklahoma scores for the first time since the first inning, adding 1, and it's now 6-0 here in Stillwater. Oklahoma State, we're in Stillwater tonight, O'Brate Stadium. Alongside Kyle Peterson, I'm Clay Matvick. What a ballpark. You've been here before. This is my first time here, and absolutely impressed. It's everything I was told it was.
I saw it last year, and Josh took me around and showed me all the player stuff. The cages are in left, all covered. They're beautiful. There's a turf infield beyond left field that they can use if they're going to play on the turf. Weight room has the garage doors that roll up that goes right into where the turf infield is. Coach's office, look right over the ballpark. It's phenomenal. I mean, it is. And there's grills. Like that's kind of burying the lead. The grill part should come first before everything else.
Boy, this is hammered by Colin Brigham, and forget it. Goodbye home run. Colin Brigham. I don't think he hit a grill out there, but he came pretty close. 8th home run of the year, and Oklahoma State's offense is on the board. It's 6-1.
Brigham, who was double-digit home runs last year, gets his 8th right here, and a no-doubter out to right center field. Pokes need this, too. They need a little bit of punch. That's just his 2nd hit of the game. But Brigham leads off the 4th right here, gets one back with a solo shot.
Well, remember, Nolan Schubert hit one high and deep to center last inning. It stayed in the yard, but barely. The other big bopper in this Oklahoma State lineup. And now finally Brigham gets Oklahoma State on the board against Reed Hensley. So now both Schubert and Brigham with 8 home runs on the year, tied for the team lead. As Garrett Shull hits, he was hit by a pitch back in the 2nd. That's a quick 3-pitch at bat for Shull as Reed Hensley gets his 2nd strikeout. So going back to this stadium, KP, the grills out in the outfield, I don't know that we've seen that anywhere else. I mean, where they're a fixture of the stadium. I mean, you know, different places, you know, they allow fans to do some cooking at the ballparks, but they're a part of the stadium.
Yeah, Mississippi State's the only other one. So where I mean, it used to be where you had to roll your own stuff in every year. Now they're built in. But this, I think it's an awesome touch. I mean, we could smell it about, I mean, game time 6 local. About 5:15, you started smelling. Look at this.
That's cued right down the right field line for Bo Sylvester. He's going to try for two, and he's going to get there. Now the catcher, Bo Sylvester, was way out ahead of it, cued it right down the first base line.
Well, it doesn't matter how. You don't need to go look at exit velo or launch angle or anything right here. He just hit it in a spot that nobody's going to get to. Obviously, if you're Taki at first base right there, you're not expecting a right-hander hit a ball down a right field line on the ground. But Bo Sylvester does right there. So the leadoff home run, now 1-out double by Sylvester.
Three hits now for the Cowboys as Brock Thompson will come up, a strikeout victim of Jaden Barfield in the second inning. They spent $75 million to build this college baseball palace. And now it's almost completely in shadow. Is that what's fouled over the Oklahoma dugout?
Yeah, Judge Holliday was really involved in it too. Obviously, I mean, he grew up in a dugout. He's been around baseball stadiums forever and played on this campus. And it reminds me of when South Carolina built their ballpark and Ray Tanner was so involved in all of the sight lines and exactly what the dimensions would be. This place has that feel. Josh had his hand on a lot of different things.
When you and I walked down onto the field, I had to test for myself that it wasn't artificial turf.
It looks fake.
It looks fake. It is so well manicured, but it's real grass on the infield and the outfield. Just behind home plate is artificial turf.
It's a big league surface.
One out, man at second. The pitch is outside, 2-2 to Thompson.
Yeah, Todd Tribble's the man in charge of that, who handles all the turf management stuff here at Oklahoma State. But what Josh told us before the game is this is kind of his baby. This one he got to design when they were doing the stadium, and I mean it is perfection on the infield and the outfield.
Swung on and missed, struck him out. So 2 strikeouts in the inning for Hensley, 3rd on the night. And there are 2 down for Culbertson. Well, tomorrow night's NBA play-in tournament games on ESPN. 7:30 Eastern. The Bulls hosting the Heat for the Eastern Conference. Then the Western Conference 9-10 game. Mavs Kings. Loser of those games done. Winners play the losers 7 of the 7-8 games. Does that make sense? You got that?
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Coverage begins with NBA Countdown 7 Eastern. Another one hit pretty deep to the power alley, drifting. And running it down is Jason Watt for the 3rd out. But a home run to lead off the inning by Brigham. And Oklahoma State is on the board for the first time tonight. Oklahoma 6. Oklahoma State littered with teams from the SEC.
SEC, I mean, last year, the College World Series, you had 4 SEC, 4 ACC. So not a shock that we see some of these teams. How about the shots back in there? Coastal would host Arizona of this Big 12 conference. And good to see UCLA back in the discussion. Now the Big Ten been a little bit different, but the Bruins have been outstanding, honestly. They and Oregon all the way through that Big Ten season.
New pitcher, sophomore Kyle Body for Oklahoma State. The 3rd left-hander to pitch tonight for the Cowboys. We talked about Brennan Phillips, how good he was in his 3 innings. Gave up 1 run. But it wasn't earned after Ryan Ure, who got the start, struggled, gave up 5 earned runs in the 1st inning. And now we'll see what Body can do.
It's good swing and miss stuff for Body. The problem just has been the walks. I mean, he's walked about 1 per inning this year.
Dickerson, Taki, and Branch, and that's quick work for Body as Dickerson sits down. The designated hitter striking out for the 2nd time tonight.
fastball is going to be about 90, and he throws about equal slider and changeup. There's a changeup to pitch before. This time goes back to the slider, gets it underneath the bat. He's faced one and struck him out.
Dayton Taki, one of the newcomers to the Sooners this year. JUCO transfer from Weatherford College. He's got some pop. 5 home runs on the year. But in the first inning, the 6'2", 233-pound first baseman laid down a pretty good bunt. And Taki has reached in 15 straight.
I'm going to venture a guess that Dylan Taki wasn't asked to lay down a bunt at Weatherford College very often.
I don't think so.
He probably didn't even have to look at signs when he was there. Just stand up there and see how far you can hit it.
He's out of Fort Worth, Texas. Talked about it before, though. Only 39 home runs for the Sooners as a team coming into the game tonight. That's not exactly in line with the current trend in college baseball. And is that something that the Sooners have to be concerned with if they're going to make a deep run this year?
I mean, you want to hit more home runs. It's the easiest way to score. One swing gets you one, perhaps multiple runs, but you also got to play to the type of team that you are. And I think we talked to Skip Johnson earlier in this game. I mean, that's basically what he said. I wanted to hear how he described their offense. They wear sweatshirts, and Reggie Willits has one on that says chaos on the front. And that's the intent of this offense, is just to create chaos. Now, it may not come with power. And you can see in this graphic that it really hasn't this year as far as the home run. But it does come with being active on the base pass, not just stealing bases, but taking the extra base when you can, going first to third. It is chaotic when they get on the base pass.
Well, Taki with one out gets the walk. Kyle Branch. And that's going to get away from the catcher. Sylvester has to chase. And just like that, Oklahoma, without a hit, has a runner in scoring position.
Okay, so we talked earlier. It's not necessarily the stolen bases. It's that chaos that it creates. This seems little, but it also messes with a left-hander's head. Watch the first step of Taki. Okay, it's early, and it's right in the face of body. He can see that, but he already knows he's going home. But in his mind, it changes. It changes the rhythm going home just enough, and he throws it in the dirt, and base runner advances.
Any way to create chaos. Just a little bluff. There's that motto. There's Reggie Willits. Remember now, he was the first base coach for the New York Yankees for a while, and he was in charge of the run game there.
And Booney wasn't, I don't think, too excited to lose it. I mean, Reggie Willits knows his baseball, man. I mean, obviously played at OU, played in the big leagues, was known his time in the big leagues as a great baseman, or a guy that got the most out of what he had.
He has got a son, not just Jackson, who's already with the Sooners, but another son, Eli, who's a projected first rounder, who's right now at Fort Cobb High School. And a lot of people are really excited about his potential. Runner goes, the 2-1 way outside, and no chance for a throw for Sylvester.
Yeah, I'd say top-end high school baseball around Stillwater, Oklahoma is pretty good this year. So we talked about Eli Willits. I mean, Kylie's got him projected to go second. Well, when there's another Holiday, Ethan Holiday, Josh's nephew, obviously Matt Holiday's son, and the brother of Jackson Holiday, who's already in the big leagues and made his big league debut last year at the age of 20.
Now Branch walks. And now here comes Walton out to the mound again. Holiday and Willits, two names in the majors we're going to be hearing for a long time to come.
Yeah, it's pretty cool for Reggie, too. I mean, you get to coach your son at your alma mater. And now you get to watch your other son, who obviously isn't playing in Stillwater. I said around Stillwater, but around Oklahoma. play high school baseball, and it looks like here's name called really early in the draft. That's proud papa stuff there.
Well, Kyle Body, it's not going to last long tonight. New pitcher. We'll talk about it next.
Their dedication and fine architecture. Night with no wind, that may stay there for a while.
It's that kind of night. Just beautiful. Good for taking in some entertainment and having a cold one.
Or 50 based on the size of the tower. But yeah, no, whacked the freshman right-hander on. Manitowoc, Wisconsin. I thought you'd get that in, but they flashed it up there. You had a chance.
Manitowoc.
Manitowoc. I was close. That's why I wish you would have got it in.
Well, a couple of walks, and Kyle Body taken out of the game for the freshman right-hander. Dayton Taki's at third. Kyle Branch is at first. 3 stolen bases in the ball game for the Sooners now. After Taki took third base, and we're going to see another bunt from the Sooners, but pushed foul by Willis, the number 9 hitter in this order. Dawson Willis was the Division II Defensive Player of the Year last season at LSU Eunice, the Division II national champs, and has found a home in Norman, Oklahoma, playing third base, and playing it well. He hit a 3-run homer in Game 2 of the Vandy series on Saturday. Would like to do that here. Has 2 on. The 0-1 pitch. It's outside. The lights haven't taken effect yet, but the entire field is in shadow now, and the cans keep getting. Oh no, it did fall over. That's bad news. Yep, that's bad news. But it looks like they're going to try and
get back to work
and get going again. They had to be close to 50 there.
Well, I think they're still adding to the count too.
I'll have to check in from time to time, see where they're at. Another throw over to first. So Oklahoma got 5 in the first, scored 1 in the 4th inning on an RBI double by Christensen. And they're attacking again here with Noah Weck on the mound now. 4th pitcher, first right-hander of the night for Oklahoma State. And this one is skied behind home plate. It's going to get out of play. So Oklahoma State 5 games behind first place West Virginia in the Big 12. Steve Saban's first year in
West
Morgantown.
Virginia's 30-4.
Yeah, just an amazing first season for Sabans. After Randy Mazie retired, and you know he said last year, he said the program is going to be left in great hands.
I mean, they went to a super regional last year, went to Chapel Hill and almost won the opener, but Randy Mazie had announced his retirement before the season started, and Sabans has taken it and run.
Runner goes from first, 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed, strikeout. They don't get the runner at second, and getting back to third is Taki. So second and third now with 2 outs as Willis strikes out, and back to the top of the order and Gamble.
This is defended really well right here by Oklahoma State too. Throw it down, you make the tag, maybe you can end the inning right there, but instead Brock Thompson, the second baseman, takes a step towards the infield just to make sure that Taki's not going anywhere at third base. But OU again has multiple runners in scoring position here with 2 outs.
Gamble 1 for 2 with a walk and a single. Trey Gamble, a quiet guy. He's out of Alpine, Utah. Just a junior, but 23 years old. And he's been a nice addition to the Sooners this year. Ground ball, right side. Brigham, pitcher covering, and Oklahoma State will get off the field without any damage being done. A couple of walks, but they're stranded. We've played 4.5. 6. Sun going down over Stillwater, Oklahoma. As it's starting to get a little cooler now, but still very nice. Alongside Kyle Peterson on Clay Matvick, another pitching change. And the Sooners bring on another left-hander. Their second lefty tonight. This is James Hitt. You can call him Jamie, though. His friends call him Jamie, so you can too.
You friends with him? I'm not sure if he's comfortable with you calling him that, but I'm going to stick James for now. We thought that Hitt may start this game. Originally, it looked like that would be the case, but on for the 16th time. All of those have come out of the bullpen. Fastball changeup primarily to right-handers. Fastball slider cutter primarily to lefties.
Pitched 2/3 of solid relief in game 1 against Vanderbilt on Friday. In that series, just allowed 1 hit. It was a solo home run, though, to Jacob Humphrey. And so now he will try to stop Braden Smith from extending his hitting streak, which is at 19 games. Smith grounded out to third back in the first inning, took a 10-pitch walk in the third, so he's 0 for 1. Boy, Braden Smith, I'll tell you, he pretty much was a one-man show in that K-State series. 7 for 13, 5 runs batted in. That was a big series for Oklahoma State, one of the bright spots. They swept the Wildcats out of town here about a week and a half ago. Again, Oklahoma State, the preseason favorites in the Big 12, but it's been a frustrating year. Currently 10th in the conference, a conference that in the preseason the Cowboys were predicted to win. Well, we're only halfway through, so a lot of time left. Hard hit ground ball to second, Kyle Branch. Thrown out Culbertson.
Well, the balance of those that are near the top of the Big 12, about what we thought would be in it. West Virginia said just a minute ago, 30-4. 3 of those losses in the league. TCU, Rick Sarlos's club's had a great year again, man. 28 wins already for TCU. Chip Hale and Arizona Wildcats' first turn through the Big 12 has been a good one. For Oklahoma State, they will host Houston this weekend. They don't play a ranked team after this, at least as of right now. So here, within conference. So Houston at home, go to Cincinnati. UCF at home, go to Baylor. Then that long-standing Big 12 rivalry, Arizona State and Oklahoma State, to finish it out.
Colin Ritchie, short center field, but Jason Watt can cover ground with the best of it, and they're 2 down.
And he didn't get a great break. I mean, there was a ball, I think it was to end the last inning, that was hit into right center field. And Walk absolutely cruised to it. He knew he had it the entire time. But most guys would have been on a dead sprint to get to it. This time, froze, didn't really break back, but froze initially. But at closing speed is plenty to get there in short order. And James Hitt has 2 quick outs here in the 5th.
Nolan Schubert is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Hit a deep fly ball to center field that Walk was able to keep in the ballpark right in front of the fence in center. He was back in the 3rd inning. Struck out in the 1st. Schubert, a Michigan native. Originally committed to Michigan, but changed his mind after Eric Bakich left for Clemson. He was really liked his time here in Stillwater.
Stu can hit. He can really hit. Last year in the regional, it was Oklahoma State, Florida. Jack Caglione on the mound for the Gators. Schubert took him deep twice, left on left, and none of them snuck out.
He's on that Golden Spikes watch list at midseason. Ground ball. Shift was on. And Willits throws out Schubert on the right side of second base. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Jamie Hitt. Same costume. Oh, hey, an update. the tower's getting rebuilt.
Yeah, this gives you renewed confidence in the college students of America right here, because the previous tower was much smaller, and when it went down, they went back to work. We've expanded said tower, and now it's getting even better.
I think it just emboldened them that it was knocked down before.
It's an opportunity, Clay. That's all it is.
Jackson Willits leading it off for Oklahoma. Leading 6-1 here in the 6th inning. Again, the only meeting between these two longtime rivals this year. Longtime members of the Big 8, the Big 12 together. Now Oklahoma first year in the SEC. 350th all-time meeting. Now there's some debate on that. We talked about that off the air. It seems like schools, especially rivals, can't agree on what the exact standing is in the all-time series.
It's not even close in this one. I think OU has it at like 323 games, and Oklahoma State has it at 350.
It's up and in, full count.
It's a lot.
It's a big discrepancy, yeah. And it is a lot. Man, I mean, it goes back over 100 years. Outside, Walkton. So leadoff walk given up by the freshman Noah Weck to Jackson Willits, and now always a threat to run. He's at first. That is the 6th walk for the Sooners tonight. And here you see the all-time wins for both programs. And Oklahoma State leads the all-time series. They've been in Omaha a bunch. Oklahoma State has a national title. Also runners up 5 times. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, OU played for the national championship just a couple years ago in 22. Josh's 3rd year when he was in Stillwater took Oklahoma State to Omaha, and they were one of the Final 4 teams standing that year.
Last trip to Omaha, 2016 for Oklahoma State. And they're hungry to get back. The last super regional appearance for Oklahoma State, 2019. And since the pandemic year, Josh Holliday's team has, been in the NCAA tournament, just can't get out of that regional round, and they've hosted.
Yeah, the last 3 years. I think they're fine getting in and not hosting. After the last 3 years, and
you might be right.
You're doing it again. It's just work your way back in to where you can get in the tournament. And it may be a good thing for Oklahoma State not to host.
Next pitch is a strike in the outside corner. 0-2 to Easton Carmichael. Carmichael tonight 1 for 2. The backup catcher for Oklahoma is Scott Mudler. And generally in a midweek game like this, you would probably see him, but he's fighting a bit of a shoulder injury, so they're excited to get him back soon so that Carmichael can start getting a breather here now and again. Right now, Carmichael's catching every game. And that is a demanding position. Even when the weather's cool like it is this time of year, it is a demanding position. You can see that grill smoke out there in right center field now, wafting in the breeze. And there's not much breeze, but it is wafting a bit.
Got wafting in twice right there.
That's a great word, too. Foul back.
Do you remember?
Yes.
I know you do. You know where I'm going with
Yes, I do.
One of the greatest foul ball catches I've ever seen in my life was by the man to my left, Mr. Clay Matthew, at Texas A&M. But what followed was something that I have never seen in my life, which is you jumping on the table in the press box and then showing the ball to the entire stadium, plus Paul Maneri, who was in the dugout as the head coach of LSU. It was as excited as I've ever seen you in my life. And for a split second right there, you thought you may have another opportunity.
Just now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about it. It was well out of my reach, even though I'm still a top shelf athlete. Yeah, Paul Maneri really appreciated that.
It was he did. He looked up. He gave you the thumbs up, and you're still holding. You probably still have the ball. You may have signed it yourself.
Not true. 2-2 pitch. Fly ball left field. Sounded good, looked good coming off the bat, but a lazy fly ball. Richie's got it, and Carmichael is retired for the first out of the 6th inning. Paul Maneri out his first year at South Carolina, and you know it's
been tough sledding.
It's been a little bit tough sledding too for Paul in Columbia.
They're 2-13 of the league. It looked like they were going to win Game 3 last weekend against A&M. A&M hits 2 grand slams, including the Caden Kemp walk-off grand slam in the 9th, to come back and sweep South Carolina. Listen, it could switch quick. I mean, I had A&M Tennessee 2 weeks ago. They lost the opener. At that time, they were 1-9 in the league, and it looked like they had no chance. They then won both ends of a doubleheader against Tennessee, sweep South Carolina, and now they're feeling very different in College Station.
Shift on against Christensen, the left-handed hitter. As Oklahoma State would like to turn 2 here in the 6th inning. Christensen had an RBI double off the wall in right center field in the 4th inning to plate the 6th run for Oklahoma tonight. 6 runs on 6 hits. You know, but really Oklahoma State, even though they've used 3 different pitchers in doing so, kind of held Oklahoma in check after that big 5-run first inning.
They gave up 5 hits and they made 2 errors. Aside from that, it's been a pretty even game. But those 5 still count.
There you go. 5 runs, 5 hits in the first. And just the 1 hit since, and that was Christensen, who's at the plate. It's inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mark Wagers, the home plate umpire tonight. I think he's had a really good strike zone. Struck him out. A changeup there for the 2nd out.
We showed the difference in OU's offense since the 1st inning, and these kids at Oklahoma State's rolled out there have done their job. Noah Weck, scoreless 5th after creating a little bit of traffic, and now opens this one with a leadoff walk to Willits, but retires the next 2.
Jason Walk 0 for 3 tonight for the Sooners. And we were just talking about Paul Maneri in South Carolina. Jason Walk gave Paul some heartaches earlier this season, as Jason had the series clinching homer in the 10th to beat the Gamecocks about a month ago.
So kind of marquee Tuesday matchups. This near the top, and Georgia Tech tonight, playing at Truist Park where the Braves play. Georgia on top of Tech 5-2 right now.
Georgia Tech coming off a great weekend, and like we said earlier, climbing in the D1 top 25 this week.
And in position to host right now. Danny Hall announced his retirement earlier this year, the longtime head coach in the ABCA Hall of Fame. He's a great college baseball man. But this is the best chance that Georgia Tech has had in a while to maybe make a postseason run.
Delayed steal. The throw is not even close.
It's a lost art. You just don't see it as much. And of course, the guy that you would expect to do it perfectly is Jackson Willits. And again, stolen bases is one thing, but just the ability to change it up. Look at that 1 hop, 2 hop. And what it does is it freezes the middle infielders, because they're looking right away to see if there's movement. It's a normal secondary lead. Then the late break.
Ground ball is going to end the inning. And that was the 5th stolen base for Oklahoma tonight, the 10th for Willits, but he's stranded in the 6th inning. 6-1 Sooners.
Good work by a crew here. Old Roy hit. Never forget old Roy. Grant Balfour, of course, ball 4 is what we're going for there. Bob Walk, Homer Bailey, Skip Johnson's buddy. And runs their time on Walker. And my former teammate for a brief period of time, Mr. Eric Plunk.
Wrapped a deep short. And Jason Jones is retired. Willits looking very solid at shortstop. I knew Grant Balfour is how it was pronounced, pretty well. Australian.
Oh, yeah.
And quite a character.
That kind of goes with the Australian territory, it seems like. Willis has got real arm now. I mean, I know he had time to crow hop and get through that one, but that was a seed across the infield.
Yeah, he is a 5-tool player. As Colin Briggerman comes up, he had the home run to lead off the 4th inning, the only run for Oklahoma State tonight. That was his first home run in the month of April. So that's a good sign for the Cowboys that maybe his power is starting to reemerge.
But, I mean, we've talked about the injuries plenty with Oklahoma State, but the reality is if they're going to go, they need to see more of this. It has to be Briggerman with the ability to leave the yard, and this was a no doubt. But it's that pretty left-handed swing on a fastball that it was out away from him, went about 8 rows deep into right center field.
Now we've got time called, and Skip Johnson is noticing something with Jamie Hitt, it would appear, because he brought the trainer out with him. And it appears Jamie Hitt is saying, "I'm okay, coach, keep me in." Tell you what, Skip Johnson's got an eagle eye. He noticed something and just wanted his mind put at ease, and apparently Jamie Hitt just did that. There's activity in the Oklahoma bullpen. Jason Bowden starting to loosen up. So you pitched a long time
ago. Yes.
Eons ago.
Yeah.
In high school, and then in college, and then in the major leagues. And do you remember a particular time where you were able to talk yourself into staying in the game, and you did a great job as a barrister arguing with your coach that you were staying in?
Yeah, we had a few of those discussions. Plenty of them in college. I remember I was in Milwaukee. We were playing at Wrigley Field, and it was when Jimmy Lefevre was our manager, and I was the last guy in the bullpen. Was in there in extra innings. Sammy Sosa's coming up. Lefevre comes out and says, "I think we should walk it." I said, "No, I think I can get it." Lefevre turns around and walks back. The first pitch, Sosa hits a walk-off sac fly to left, and I go walking off. He looked at me like, "All right, I'm not even going to ask from now on. I'll make that decision."
Oh, well done. Well done, Peterson. So after the strikeout by Briggerman, here's Garrett Schull. As Jamie Hitt has retired 5 straight since coming out in relief. It was interesting, too, before the game, Todd Butler from the Oklahoma coaching staff still giving you pitching pointers after watching you pitch way back in 1997.
He came running at me. Hey, I was sitting right behind home plate when you pitched against LSU, and you remember that breaking ball you threw to Brandon Larson? I said, yeah, it hit about 3/4 of the way up the light pole in left center. Yeah, well, why'd you throw the breaking ball? If I was in your dugout, I'd have had you throw all fastballs. Thanks, Todd. You were on the other dugout later on that night.
Yeah, I tell you, it was fun down on the field before the game. I mean, some great baseball men. Todd Butler, former head coach, too. He was at Wichita State for a time. And now on this Oklahoma staff for the last couple of years. These guys remember so much from so long ago. It's so impressive.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's some stuff that you can't forget. I mean, it's not like you're intentionally trying to remember it, but the spots. Todd Butler has been in this league for 18, 19 years, assistant at Alabama, assistant for Dave Van Horn at Arkansas, and then the head man at Wichita State for a while. He can go out and get you some dudes, man. That guy can recruit.
Full count. Garrett Shull hit by a pitch in the second, struck out swinging in the fourth. That was against Hensley. And he draws a walk here with 2 outs. So the first base runner since the 4th inning for Oklahoma State. Gonna bring up Bo Sylvester, who had a double off the end of the bat. His last time to the plate, he's 1 for 2. Just 3 hits, and Sylvester has 1 of them. Trying to get the Cowboys back in this game, down 5. Jumps on the first pitch, but pops it up on the infield. Taki has it, makes the catch. And Shull is stranded. We're through 6 in Stillwater. Begins with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern. He's Kyle Peterson. I'm Clay Matvick. We're at O'Brien Stadium here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. As we move on to the 7th inning now, 6 runs, 6 hits for number 18 Oklahoma. And the Cowboys just that 1 run in the 4th on a solo home run by Colin Brigham. Drew Dickerson to lead it off, followed by Taki and Branch. Ground ball scooped up by Jones. And 1 up, 1 down. That was actually Hamlin pinch hitting there as the Sooners pinch hit for Dickerson. And he's out at 1 pitch. Here's Taki 0 for 2. You know, you talked about the Sooners hoping to host. You know, and I think the metrics are pretty good. You know, coming into the game here tonight, KP, an RPI of 25, top 30 strength of schedule. I mean, it's not too bad as you're looking at the 2nd week of April.
No, I mean, there's still some work to do. This is a shift.
Yeah, that would have been right to the shortstop. The shift is on for Taki. And he's a 1-out base runner, and that'll bring up Branch.
And for OU, so you go to Missouri this weekend. And then they go to Georgia. And that to Georgia, you want to talk about a weekend, you can boost that RPI. Georgia 10-5 in the league, 32-6 overall. They get Ole Miss at home, they go to Kentucky. And then they finish with Texas at home, little Red River rivalry to end it before they head to the SEC tournament. So, I mean, I would think if you're Oklahoma back half of the season, if you can figure out a way to go 9-6 in the league, win 16 games, definitely squarely in that, I mean, bottom half of the top 16, but in the host discussion again.
Yeah, the SEC tournament, a little different format this year. All 16 teams are going to make it, single elimination. Top 8 teams will receive a bye. The top 4 teams will get a 2-round bye. What do you think of that format in Hoover?
I actually like it. I mean, I like the fact that everybody shows up, and the advantage goes to those that should get it. I mean, if you're a top 4 seed.
Looping liner, and coming on is Schubert. He'll make the running catch to retire Kyle Branch.
top 4 seeds, you get back-to-back buys. You don't play till Thursday. So, I mean, within the SEC, we talk about power at the top of the conference, and there always is. Texas, a new #1 team. Arkansas lost 2 out of 3 last weekend, which is the only reason they're not #1. Tennessee was #1 just a few weeks ago. Georgia is hammering baseballs offensively, as good as any offense in the country. LSU was #1. It's 1 point this year. But a big weekend for Auburn last weekend to get the sweep of LSU.
Yeah.
Jump right back into the hosting discussion again for Butch Thompson's club.
And LSU swept Oklahoma. That was a series that was closer, though, than maybe on paper it appears now. It was where games were hanging in the balance all throughout the series. It just turned out that the Tigers swept that 3-game set. It was back-to-back series losses for the Sooners. They also lost a series to Alabama the week before, so it was kind of a rough patch for them after the great start. So this one was fouled off the bat of Willis.
I would say, too, excuse me, for all the conference realignment stuff that happened this year, I mean, OU and Texas are great additions to the SEC. Arizona State, great additions to the Big 12.
Without a doubt.
Historic baseball programs. UCLA, SC, Oregon, Washington into the Big 10. That makes the Big 10 a significantly better baseball conference.
Ground ball. It's going to end the inning. Taki with the base hit, but nothing across for Oklahoma in the 7th. Stretch time in Stillwater.
But that 5 is stuck to this point. Oklahoma State sent a pinch hitter up in Doherty to start the 7th.
4th year in the program for Doherty. He's their regular catcher. Jamie Hitt continues to throw on the mound for the Sooners. You know that it was important for Doherty to get in this game. As a senior, he's from Kingfisher, Oklahoma. Grew up a Cowboys fan. And he has a comebacker there, nearly DeHorn's hit. Mercer. Jamie Hitt has to go flying out of the way to avoid getting drilled by that line drive.
That'll get your heart pumping right there. It's a little bit off the end of the bat, which ultimately I think is why Branch can't make the play at second base. This ball's spinning all over the place. And when Branch goes to field it, I think that spin just spun it right out of his glove, because he's there in time. If he fields it cleanly, he's probably going to throw Doherty out instead. The pinch hitter on there with a leadoff single for the Pokes here in the 7th.
This is Culbertson. He stays in the 9-hole. An excellent bunter out of the 9 spot. Almost beat it out at first. Gets Doherty into scoring position. That's the thing about Culbertson. I mean, you know, he's hitting a little over his weight. But, man, he's got 7 sacrifice bunts. He's had a lot of bunt hits this year. He can really handle the bat.
He can, yes. But hitting 164 is why you only get, I mean, now 8 outs left. You're down 5 runs. And I think in that situation, Josh Holliday is saying, listen, I want to make sure we get a base runner to second base right now for the top of this lineup. Normally, you're not going to give an out up in the 7th, down 5 runs.
Smith flipped. It's kind of a lob throw that gets there in time to get Braden Smith. Didn't put a lot of juice on that toss, but it's the 2nd out. Over to 3rd goes Doherty. And Braden Smith's hitting streak is in jeopardy here as he's 0 for tonight.
Well, for Kyle Branch, it looked kind of cool. That's probably one you want to barehanded flip over there. A little bit higher than he wanted to. Yeah, it does. I mean, that's the one that you have fun practicing. Just enough on it for Dayton Taki to stretch and get that 2nd out.
We'll see if Smith gets another at bat. A hit streak at 19 games. Here's Colin Ritchie again. 0 for 3 tonight. Shift is on. Willits playing almost directly behind second base. As Oklahoma State is trying to get a run in here, down 5. And as you alluded to, running out of bounds. Another Oklahoma native in Richie, and he had a 4-for-5 game against Oklahoma last year, including a homer and 3 runs batted in. There are a lot of Oklahoma State's Cowboys who are from the state of Oklahoma. Just the one for the Sooners, and that's Willits. Eighteen Cowboys from Oklahoma.
That's a rarity for OU.
There's the only Sooner, Jackson Willits. I think that's a strike, as Colin Ritchie was trying to coax a walk there. I think part of it, too, is the coaching staff for Oklahoma State, all Cowboys. They all played here. They've stuck together a long time. I think that has an impact when you're recruiting this state.
Yeah, you got a little bit of that in both dugouts. I mean, OU's got 2 on their staff that are coaches that played there, Russell Raley and Reggie Willits. You can see Josh's staff and everybody that played there when they did. Not a whole lot of crossover as far as players, but everybody wore that, well, pretty much same uniform as they're wearing tonight.
That's right. And we love it. Here's the pitch, 3-2. Lifted high into left field. Trey Gamble coming over toward the line, and he's going to put it away for the 3rd out. So Oklahoma State gets Doherty to 3rd, but that's where he stays. And it stays 6-1. We head to the 8th.
There's still time for Oklahoma State, but to see West Virginia atop the league, and maybe more impressively at 30-4 at this time, and they won again tonight. I think they beat Marshall, so now 31-4. Steve Saban's first year, who used to be on this Oklahoma State staff himself.
Pitcher number 5 for Oklahoma State. This is freshman Stormy Rhodes. Second straight right-hander. And there you see his numbers. Again, Oklahoma State went 19-9 in the Big 12 last year, won the Big 12 tournament, but lost so much from that team, especially on the pitching staff. There's Trey Gamble. There's a 2-1 count, the leadoff man for Oklahoma. You know, and you talked about a couple of key injuries, too, for Oklahoma State on the pitching staff, as this one's nubbed foul. Gabe Davis, Lund, another one, a young arm that they thought was going to be healthy, and he hasn't been. But Gabe Davis was the opening day starter for Oklahoma State, and in his outings wasn't good early, and then ran into injury issues. We haven't seen him since about 3 weeks ago.
Well, and talking to Josh before the game, I mean, they thought that Ethan Lund was potentially going to be a weekend guy for him this year, the freshman. So you lose your opening day starter and another arm that you thought was going to pitch on the weekend, and then the entire left side of your infield. Those are big hits.
Trey Gamble will be at first base, and we've got some defensive changes here for Oklahoma State as you look at the pen. Going right and left-handed down there. Donovan LaSalle is in left field now. Ritchie goes from left to center. And Braden Smith now at second base. What have you thought of Jackson Willits tonight? I know last inning we talked about him defensively a little bit, but just seeing his game up close here.
I just think he's really complete. I think he's really complete. And, you know, he delay steals tonight. It works perfectly. He ran it perfectly. Singles in the first, reached out there in the fourth, scored in both those innings. I don't know. I think that if somebody just says that guy's a baseball player, like that's a guy I want on my team, and that's what I think of every time that I see Willits. You want him on your team. It's not flashy. It doesn't need to be flashy. It's probably intentionally not flashy. But when you look up, he's usually doing something that's helping the ball club.
One for three tonight. The only returning Sooner with double-digit homers is Jackson Willits. Hit 10 last year. So you got a team that, you know, hasn't hit a lot on the season, just 39, but he's got 9 of them, about a quarter of the home runs for this club. This is down. 2 balls and a strike to Jackson Willits. Oklahoma State hasn't finished below 4th in the Big 12 since 2017. Also the last time that the Cowboys finished under 500 in conference play. This one is going to get away from home plate. Sylvester, as he's had to do a few times tonight, has to chase after it. And Stormy Rhodes throws one in the turf. So Gamble at second. Line drive, base hit into right. Gamble motoring around as he's waved from third base by Rayleigh, the third base coach, and that makes it 7-1 Oklahoma. First Sooners run since the 4th, and it's Jackson Willits with his 2nd hit and his first run batted in, and he's been an RBI machine as of late.
He's been an on-base machine too, on for the 4th time today, and Willits gets something on the inner half of the plate. Again, it just seems like he's always doing something to help him. And does right there. Gamble leadoff walk, advances to second. Willits drives him in, and Rob Walton back out talking to his freshman right hand.
Well, another reminder, the NCAA Gymnastics Championship semifinals are here on ESPN2. Expanded coverage on ESPN+. First rotation is Thursday. It starts at 4:30 Eastern, leading up to Saturday afternoon's team final on ABC at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. Well, Rob Walton is going to stick with Stormy Rhodes here to face Easton Carmichael. Easton Carmichael, 1 for 3 tonight. You know, the one thing about a game like this is Rob is seeing a lot of young arms, and we talked about the pitching rotation on the weekend. It seems like it's set. They've got Harrison Bodendorf on Friday. Sean Youngerman is the guy that they have in as the number 2 starter now. Hard hit to left. Carmichael with his 2nd hit, back-to-back singles here in the 8th inning. And then Hunter Watkins has been good on Sundays. It's just, can they get enough around that especially out of the bullpen, and maybe in a situation like these midweek games, they can find some answers.
They're auditions to some extent. I mean, for a lot of guys. I mean, Noah Weck today goes 3 innings. He hadn't gone 3 innings the entire year. So you do that in the midweek, potentially you get more of a chance on the weekend. But for now, Oklahoma State will go back to the bullpen, and they've done that a fair amount tonight. This Oklahoma offense trying to wake up yet again. One on the board, a 7-1 lead for the Sooners here in the 8th.
Team on the field down 6. I think that's 7-1 as a new pitcher comes on, Drew Blake. But it has been a very nice night for baseball, and now we'll see what Drew Blake can do. 1-2 on the year, 6.33 earned run average.
A 17th appearance. That's tops on this Oklahoma State team, and for Blake, there's a lot of swing and miss. 30 strikeouts and 21 and change.
This is pitcher number 6 for Oklahoma State and the 4th left-hander. Nobody out, 2 on. Run in this inning as Christensen bunts it foul. There's a leadoff walk to Gamble by Stormy Rhodes. Rhodes is out of the game now. There's Jackson Willits out at second base. Easton Carmichael at first. 5 runs in the first, 1 in the 4th, 1 here in the 8th for the Sooners. Runners go, and here comes the throw from Sylvester. Nearly goes into left field. That was a great diving catch for Jason Jones. 6, make that 7 stolen bases now for Oklahoma tonight.
We told you this offense is chaotic. They will put the pressure on. 82 stolen bases on the year coming into this game. They've added 7 tonight. That's tops in the SEC. Willits leading the double steal right there, and Oklahoma State will bring that infield in again.
It's fouled off the foot of Christensen. We were talking about it earlier, and I said, you know, it's not going to be too long, and they're going to be up over their century mark. They might do it here tonight.
Maybe
this is going.
Maybe by the end of the weekend.
Three RBIs tonight for Christensen. Drove in 2 in the first. And had an RBI double in the 4th inning. Cowboys have that infield on the grass. Two balls and 2 strikes to Christensen, the leader in the SEC in walks. Hasn't walked tonight. As I said before, on base twice with hits. Transfer from South Mountain Community College in Phoenix, Arizona. Look out, that hit him. Not a walk, but a freebie, and now the bases are loaded. And Jason Walk will walk to the plate. It has not been a good inning here in the 8th for Rhodes and now Blake. Jason Walk is 0 for 4. One of the few in this lineup don't have a hit tonight. The other is Dawson Willis in the 9 hole. You know, there haven't been a ton of hits tonight for either team, but you know, Oklahoma 7 runs, just 9 hits. Now they have agreed to a 10-run rule. So, you know, Oklahoma with a big inning here could, you know, put Oklahoma State up against it in the bottom of the 8th inning. Just like in the Oklahoma first inning, the first 4 hitters have reached here in the 8th. Led to 5 runs in the first. It's been all Sooners since then. This one is smashed to left. Going back. LaSalle looks up and watches it go. Goodbye. Grand slam home run. And now the lead is 10 for the Sooners as Jason Walk blasts his 6th home run of the year. Grand slam here in Stillwater.
I like watching that dude play, man. He can really defend out in center field, but there's maybe a little bit more juice in that bat, you would think, just out of the body size. Walk not a big kid, but this was a no-doubt. And this is a good place to hit. It'll fly even at night, but Walk knew he got it right when it came off the bat. Grand slam adds 4 more. It's now 11-1 Sooners.
So the 40th home run of the year is a loud one. As the Sooners now have hit that plateau. And Mason Hamlin will get his 2nd plate appearance of the night. Was out on 1 pitch as a pinch hitter in the 7th. Scalds that one off the glove of Jones. It's going to skip into left field.
This game doesn't make any sense sometimes. I mean, Oklahoma gets 5 hits in the first, scores 5 runs. Doesn't really do anything offensively. I mean, they scored a run in the 4th, but doesn't do anything offensively in the middle of the game. But now they haven't missed a barrel in this inning. I mean, everything. They got 5 on the board, but it has been loud contact, and there's still nobody out.
Jason Walk, the sophomore out of Ackworth, Georgia. Switch hitter, too. Power from both sides of the plate. We've seen him out in center field. He's got great wheels. He's got a great spirit about him. And he has given the Sooners a 10-run lead as Rob Walton is having a long talk here with Drew Blake. Let's look at this swing one more time.
And it worked it into a 3-1 count. So, I mean, you got to be sitting there just dead red waiting for the fastball, and he didn't miss it.
They are going to make another pitching change. Pitcher number 7 for the Sooners. We'll talk about the pitching change when we come back to the ballpark right after this.
Like $20 at the recycling station after that.
Nice crowd on hand here tonight for a Tuesday night for Bedlam. 6,810. 6,810. They had a couple of crowds over 8,000 last year when these teams got together. New pitcher Matthew Brown, right-hander for Oklahoma State. As Drew Blake gave up a grand slam moments ago to Jason Walk to make this a 10-run affair. And Dayton Taki with his 5th trip to the plate tonight. Taki had a base hit in the 7th. He's 1 for 3. Dayton Taki also with a stolen base tonight. We've seen him lay down a sacrifice bunt. Big man can do some things.
It's pretty good work by Sylvester right there. Slide his body out there, just trying to throw everything at it, try to keep it in front. Even down 10. Still working behind the dish. I mean, this is just throw everything in the air and hope it hits something. Got his glove, got his arm, stayed in front. Runner couldn't advance.
You know, and since we're 7 deep on the night into that bullpen, you know, there's probably some of these pitchers that maybe haven't been caught a lot by some of these catchers on the staff, you know, in game situation. And worked a lot in live action before. There's a chemistry that has to be developed.
And it takes a while. In that cadence and making sure everybody's on the same page.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Taki. Hamlin over at first. And this one is hit to first. Steps on the bag for 1. The throw to second not in time. So Brigham, it's the sure out at first base. Taki is retired. And so there is 1 down.
Right decision right here from Brigham. Just took him a minute to get that ball out of his glove. If he grips it cleanly the first time, maybe a chance to get the tag him out, double play at second, but that's still just the first out of the inning for Oklahoma State, or excuse me, Oklahoma.
Breaking ball in there for a strike. Not a bad looking breaking ball from Matthew Brown.
Kind of like his stuff. Fastball's been up to 93. The slider has had good swing and miss this year for the freshman.
Kyle Branch 1 for 3 tonight. Kyle's brother Colby, you were talking about Georgia and great year that the Bulldogs are having. He's the starting shortstop at Georgia, and he's having another great year.
They can hit. They can really, really hit.
A nice play there by Sylvester. Branch was really good in the non-conference. Was MVP of the Round Rock Classic, which was star-studded affair again, as it always is. And still hitting over 300 here deep into the season as a freshman. He's a very talented rookie. Two pitch. Called strike 3 on the outside black. So Matthew Brown, so far so good out of the pen. 2 outs real quickly.
Well, he's throwing strikes. I mean, that's the biggest thing you want out of your freshman right here. I mean, obviously a long way to go offensively. Oklahoma State, well, first and foremost, going to continue this game after the 8th inning. But we talked earlier about auditions. Get in there in the midweek. Potentially they call your name. You come in a spot like this, throw strikes and get them out of it, you start to bump up that list on the weekend.
You know, you hear body language a lot when you talk to coaches about what they're looking for in a pitcher. You can tell a lot in a situation, you know, like this. And all these pitchers that we've seen tonight, what's their countenance? You know, how do they look? You know, how are they going to handle situations so they know for later in the year?
I think pace is important too in a situation like this too. Like a lot of time pace shows confidence. You get up there and you're ready to go.
One or two to Dawson Willis. 0 for 4 tonight in the 9 spot. Eleven hits now for the Sooners to go along with those 11 runs. That's wide. It's a pretty big miss, too. 2-2 now. Long at bat here for Willis.
We're going to talk about other matchups around the country. I missed one. Oregon State, UCLA in a midweek game tonight. That always used to be a got-to-see-it Pac-12 series. Oregon State went down and swept Fullerton last weekend. They'll play UCLA in a midweek. Northridge this weekend. They have bounced all over the country to fill that schedule.
Foul tipped into the glove. Sylvester. And Willis strikes out to end the top of the 8th. Oklahoma State needs a run to keep this thing going.
Florida 4-11 after starting 1-11. They swept Missouri last week, so trying to get themselves back into the postseason. All right, here's the 4 for me, the top 4 right now, player of the year. Alex Lodis has been outstanding. He had another 2 hits tonight. Florida State hammered USF. Rylan Zaborowski, the transfer from Miami of Ohio. He has 16 home runs. Talked about Georgia's power. Drew Burress had an unbelievable freshman year at Georgia Tech. He's doing it again this year. And then Justin LeBron, a shortstop that leads the country in RBIs.
Yeah.
He has been LeBron's a name you're going to hear probably top 5 next year in the draft, but not draft eligible this year. Well, you going to the closer right here.
Well, Oklahoma got 5 in the top of the 8th to make this a 10-run game thanks to the grand slam by Jason Walk. And now Dylan Crooks, the senior, going to get a little work here in a not a pressure-packed situation, and he can end this thing early.
Yeah, 9 saves. Kind of cool, too. I mean, the last chance he's ever going to pitch against Oklahoma State. So maybe one of the reasons that Skip gets him in right now.
He's got to deal with the meat of this Cowboys order. Nolan Schubert, Jason Jones, Colin Brighamon scheduled to hit. Schubert 0 for 3 tonight. Nearly hit one out to center field in the 3rd inning. That was against Reed Hensley.
Crooks 9 saves on the year. That's obviously tops in this OU team. First 2 pitches of this inning, both 96-mile-an-hour fastballs.
Now a situation like this, it's not a save situation, just trying to get some work in for a guy that you're going to need on the weekend.
Yeah, ideally keep the pitch count down. Trying to get a quick inning, get on the bus, and get home tonight, as they will head to Columbia here shortly.
Oklahoma at Missouri. Take on the 0-15 Tigers, 0-15 in the SEC.
That one starts on Thursday, too, so pretty quick turnaround.
Oklahoma State. They're going to be here with Houston as they continue their 5-game homestand. They're going to be at Cincinnati after that, and then host UCF in a few weeks. So they're seeing all the newcomers to the Big 12 here in a row. Just missed for Dylan Crooks.
Talked about the power of that Georgia team. 98 home runs.
Wow.
Zaborowski has 16. Robbie Burnett, the grad transfer, has 16. Here's what Josh Holliday and his club has left within the Big 12.
You want Dallas
TBU,
Baptist pretty good too.
Yeah, they had TCU going to extra innings right now. Or Robertson, Omaha team a couple years ago. Good slider right there. Get a really good hitter in Schubert on the strikeout.
So Nolan Schubert 0 for 4 tonight, a couple of strikeouts. It's been a frustrating night for the big man. That's a good pitch by Dylan Crooks for out number 1, and now the Cowboys down to their final 2 outs. As Jones will come to the plate. Drew a walk his first time up. A couple of ground outs since. Frustrating night offensively. Just 3 hits for the Pokes. I mean, they've got some weapons in this lineup, not the least of which is Schubert. It's just been one of those nights. And it didn't matter who was out on the mound tonight for the Sooners, whether it be Barfield, Hensley, Hitt, now Crooks. Just hits have been hard to come by.
They have been this year for Oklahoma State. And again, 261 is a club coming in, and that's right at the bottom of the Big 12. When you think Oklahoma State historically, the first thing you think is offense, and rightfully so. They've had a great offense, but with the injuries and maybe not quite the year you thought Schubert would have, the offense has been down this year.
Two down. And here comes Bruggeman. Last chance here for Oklahoma State as we revisit that schedule for the Sooners. We're going to have a midweek game with Oral Roberts after the trip to Columbia. There's that trip to Georgia that is going to be difficult. And then Ole Miss looming in early May.
A good bounce back year for Ole Miss. After the national championship, it had a couple years, maybe a little bit less than I thought it would, but this year Mike Bianco's team's playing well.
He's been the only offense tonight for Oklahoma State. Home run to lead off the 4th inning. It's Reed Hensley. 50th home run on the year for this club. 3rd most in the Big 12. I think that, you know, Oklahoma State can get some things right. They can find a lot of wins in the Big 12 down the stretch and be playing their best baseball in May. And, you know, I fully believe that Josh Holliday is going to get this team to the NCAA tournament for the 12th straight year.
I thought it was interesting. You asked him a question before the game. How many wins do you think you're going to need in the Big 12 to get an at-large? And his response was interesting because he'd say, you know, I really haven't thought about that. I mean, what I'm thinking about now is what we got to do next and what we got to do to get better and ideally win a game. I would think they got to get it back to 500. You could be sub 500 in the SEC and get in. I think it's probably impossible this year to be sub 500 in the Big 12 and make the NCAA tournament. But there's time, and honestly, it's a fairly favorable schedule if you're Oklahoma State for the back half of the year in the league.
Inside, lost him. And so Bruggeman draws a 2-out walk here in the bottom of the 8th inning to keep the fire burning here for the Cowboys. And Garrett Shull will walk to the plate here. He has been on twice tonight without a hit. Hit by a pitch and walked once. And now there's going to be a pinch runner at first base. Elijah Alexander comes out to run for Bruggeman. And again, Oklahoma State needs just one to force a 9th inning. Otherwise, the 10-run rule will take effect. Shull, laser down the line into the corner. Christensen has to hustle, and they're going to hold him up. Mark Ginther, the third base coach, putting the brakes on Alexander. A 2-out double for Shull. Just the 4th hit tonight for the Cowboys. Now all of a sudden, they're in pretty good shape here. A base hit would not only score 1 to keep the game going, but potentially score 2.
Yeah, 2 quick strikeouts too. Crooks comes in, goes strikeout to start the inning. But Brigham works a 3-2 walk. Good Stoll up there, not wasting any time. First pitch fastball hammers it down the right field line. And we'll see if Bo Sylvester can keep this thing going for Oklahoma State.
First hit since Sylvester's 4th inning double for Oklahoma State. And here is Sylvester. 1 for 3 tonight. That is a hard fastball right at the belt for strike 2. Off speed, checked his swing, did not go. First base umpire Josh Shepis. Well, at times tonight, Bedlam has lacked intrigue because Oklahoma jumped right out to that 5-0 lead in the first inning. And that's strike 3, game over. But it's always fun to see these two teams on the same field. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. It's the Sooners tonight. 11-1 the final.
Fun to hang out with you too, buddy.
Always a pleasure.
Feels like Oklahoma State's going to bounce back, but OU heading into the second half of the SEC with a chance and a run to potentially host again.
Hit the win, you're the loss. 11-1 the final in 8 from Stillwater. For Kyle Peterson and our entire crew, I'm Clay Matvick saying so long and thanks for watching college baseball right here on ESPN2.